Today is my daughter's Lexi's second birthday, and finally I am ready to share the story of her birth with you. It was a Friday morning. I wanted to clean the house, scrub the shower, and mop the floor. And that afternoon I felt I am ready to give birth. It was around my due date anyway. That night I felt the baby positioning and the head putting pressure on me, but I thought, this is nothing. We did the grocery shopping, finished around 8 o'clock, had a dinner, washed the dishes, and at 9:30, my boys fell asleep. Around 9:30, they fell asleep, lay down with them, put away the dishes later on, and 10 o'clock I lay down myself. At that point I knew I was in labor, that I had contractions, but I got a great advice from a midwife who said, ignore labor. I didn't hear that until my third birth. Finally, I got the best advice of my life regarding giving birth. Ignore labor. With my first two births with my boys, as soon as I had the first contractions, I was excited up, and I was up for 2 days. I was in labor for 2 days with both of them. So this time, I was going to sleep. I ignored labor. At around midnight, I woke up. My husband was still at the computer, so I said, I think you should go lay down in case these contractions pick up, even though I'm pretty sure that we still have another day or two to go. At 2:15, I woke up. The contractions were strong enough to wake me up. So I only slept for a short time, then I was up for the contractions. So at 2:15, I thought, I better time these contractions since they're getting stronger and stronger. But they still were around 6 minutes apart, so I didn't think that this is really happening. That was around 2:15, a little after 2:15. Lexi was born at 4:05. So this is what happened between 2:15 and 4:05. I said a prayer, and I said, God, please walk through this birth with me if it's really happening, and please be with me and hold my hand. So for the rest of the time of laboring and giving birth, I felt like somebody was holding my hand. I also started to breathe really deeply. I heard it from another midwife that some people believe that women can breathe a baby out. So I was breathing really, really deep. Another friend gave me, good job, another friend gave me another advice. She said, women give birth with their mammal minds. So we can't let thoughts enter into that process. We can't let our mind interrupt the flow of labor and giving birth. So I was not letting thoughts come in until the first really, really strong temptation I had to face when I was hitting the wall of pain. At one point when you are giving birth, the pain is getting so unbearable that you hit a wall and you feel like you can't go any further. That's normally when we are really close to give birth. I didn't know that with my first two ones. My pain tolerance, I love you too. My pain tolerance is really, really small, and I really didn't handle good that challenge. With my first two births, I broke down physically, mentally, every way, spiritually, every way a person can fail, a woman can fail. I did, in front of my husband, in front of myself. And I didn't want to be the one giving birth. I told my husband, I wish you would be the one who's giving birth. So I didn't want to take responsibility for it. I thought I will die and the baby will die, and I just wanted to die. This time, when I was hitting the wall, the pain, the fear from the pain, the thought, basically a thought of the pain, started to enter me. I just took even deeper breaths. And what happened with the pain here? Oh, nice, a Miller moth. Good job. The pain from that tummy, from down here, that wall, that block of pain, started to break up. With the breath I took, the pain broke into mist, and I saw the mist going up and down my body. I even smelled this really nice fragrance of lavender and mint. So that's how the pain got broken up. Somebody was holding my hand. I was breathing deep. I smelled this great fragrance. I was up for the contractions and slept between the contractions. The next thought that was trying to enter me, and I dealt with all these thoughts intuitively, was the idea that I should change position, because sometimes you hear, oh, you don't want to be stuck in the position. And I was laying down with my two boys next to me, Kyle and Levi, in the bed, and my husband next to one of my boys, and in the same position ever since I lay down after 2:15. So I thought, okay, so how do we deal with that? And that's when I saw the picture of a mama goat laying down, breathing, and all of a sudden the baby goat, the kid, comes out. So I thought, oh, great. If mama goats can do that, then I can do that too. I don't have to change position. So I kept breathing. And at the next point, I saw a picture of a vision. I saw a gate. I saw a golden, shiny gate. Okay, just a second, Milky. But what stood out about the gate was that it was open, so I knew that I was 10 centimeters. With the next contraction, the baby started to be born. That's when I couldn't help myself thinking that, oh my gosh, I'm giving birth and I have an underwear on, as if I couldn't give birth in underwear. My husband at that point woke up, used the restroom, came back and said, how are you doing? So I said, oh, great, I just had a pushing contraction. So he said, okay, I'm going to go back to sleep. Because of my history of being in labor for 2 days with my first two births, he thought that probably I'm days away from giving birth. And I didn't want to talk, because even talking, you have to form a thought to talk, because that's what I thought. So I didn't want to explain to him that I'm actually giving birth right now. So I stood up, stepped into the bathroom, started the bath water, and kneeled down by the tub and had a pushing contraction. My husband ran into the bathroom and said, wow, your water just broke, you're giving birth. So I thought, oh good, he's actually here and sees that I'm giving birth. He said, I'm going to call the midwife. So I said, there is no time for it. But later he said that I didn't form words. I just sounded like, ruh, 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 because I really was conscious of not forming thoughts and interrupting the flow of giving birth. So he ran downstairs to call the midwife. I had 2 more pushing contractions, and the water, the tub filled up with water. So I stepped in the water. It looked so yummy. And as I was lowering down, I was starting to give birth. The water gave me this final relaxation I needed. So Lexi was being born, but I didn't want to tear, so I stopped the baby, and when the head was coming out, to stretch. So, and my husband was not there, and I wanted him to catch the baby. So my husband comes back a minute later and he said, the midwife will be here in 15 minutes, what can I do? So I told my husband, you can catch the baby. So he caught with the next contraction. Lexi was born. My husband caught the baby, and we had her for 15 minutes in the tub before the midwife arrived and helped me with whatever needed to be done. Many times when I said this story of the birth of Lexi's birth, I said, I wish I could live how I gave birth. So I think that having faith in whatever will happen, whatever needed to happen will happen, is very important, instead of having the perfect birth plan and what will happen and how I know what will happen, how I knew what will happen with my first 2 births, and I failed miserably. I knew what I will do, and I was very prepared, very knowledgeable, read everything about births and knew everything about births, and I didn't handle the first 2 births at all. I broke down every way a person can break down. I humiliated myself. I was really disappointed with myself, with my body. I always thought that women should wiggle left, wiggle right, and baby comes out, as you sometimes hear. As actually happened this time, because this birth was beyond anything I could ever make up as a birth plan or dream of. But this time I put it in God's hand, and I decided that whatever will happen, I will be there to respond to it, and I want to feel it fully. The first 2 times I wanted to run away, and I wanted somebody to take the pain away and take this whole stuff away. I just wanted to deny that that's happening to me. I just wanted to get over it with it. I just wanted to be over. And I tend to do that with other things. Just mindlessly want to get over things. I wanted to get over the birth. I wanted to get over the first 2 years. I wanted to get over the soccer season. I wanted to get over traveling. I will be happy when we not travel. I will be happy when we travel. This time, I didn't know what will happen. I did my homework. I collected data and tools. I talked with many midwives and moms, asked them about their births. So I had ideas of what I could do in certain situations, but I didn't know what will happen. I knew one thing, and I didn't know what I will do in the situation. I knew one thing, that I will be there. I will feel every second of it fully, even if it's a success or a failure, and I was ready for another failure birth because I thought that's just how I am designed. That's how my body is. I'm not that woman who goes left and right and gives birth. So I was ready to fail, but I want to fail alone if I fail. So I didn't want anybody to be there. Others careful, other than my husband, and I actually chose to give birth alone, even without my husband, but it's huge for me. So having faith that things will happen as they will, because it's out of my reach, right? And having faith that even though I have no idea what I will do, I have listened to stories, I have ideas, I have tools, but I don't know how I will respond, but I will. I will respond, or I will be there if I don't have to respond. Like to a lot of things I didn't have to respond. I needed to listen. I needed to breathe very deeply. And I needed to feel everything. But even the pain, when I felt it, when I breathed through it, it disappeared. The pain was so overwhelming with my 2 births that I just thought that it cannot get worse. When I needed to push, they had to tell me, you're 10 centimeters, you can push now. I barely could give birth. And I really was hoping that my body wanted to push, but no, I was a complete disconnect. So how would I live if I would live how I gave birth? I would pray to God to walk with me every moment and hold my hand. I would have faith that everything happens as it's meant to be, meant to happen. And I would know that I have no idea what to do, but I will be there to figure it out. I would use my intuitions to know when to do something and what to do or what not to do. And I would use the tools from my toolbox gently, without the interruptions of the mind. And sometimes we do need the mind, the power of the mind, but mostly we don't. At least I'm a woman, so I would like to listen more to my intuitions and use what I need to use, when I need to use or not, as I said. Because I think that it's the only way to learn how to love, really. Not just understand how to love, but feel it. Be there every second. Careful, every moment. Even if you don't know what will happen, and even if you don't know what you will do. But have faith in God, in the universe. Have faith in yourself. Breathe deep. I would breathe deep. I am breathing deep. I am having faith. And I love one another. Yes, because that's what matters the most. And we are rich because we have one another. Happy birthday! Lexi and Rodriguez!